What happens when a story is told so often that it almost begins to feel solved, even though it isn't? In 1950, sisters Grace and Kathleen Holmes disappeared in what should have been an ordinary afternoon walk in a quiet Australian town. What followed was a brutal crime, an investigation which is built largely on circumstantial evidence and a controversial suspect shaped as much by speculation by facts. More than 70 years later, the case is still unsolved, so we're left with an uncomfortable question. When a narrative feels convenient and familiar, does it bring us closer to the truth or quietly bury it?
AntonM.madjarevic and JonathanD podcast production 2026. Shout out to my boys and let's keep it that way. Don't forget to like and subscribe and give us an A.
In August 1950, the Holmes family, recent migrants from England, settled in Tukley, a small coastal town in New South Wales, seeking safety and a fresh start. Gracie Holmes was 18, mature and responsible, and the younger sister Kathleen, or Kathy, was 11. Both were close, well known in the community, and rarely ventured far from home. On the afternoon of August 29th, the sisters left their house after lunch, telling their mother they were going for a walk towards the Nora Head lighthouse, a familiar outing. Later, they were seen along the foreshore of Tagaray Lake, where a group of local boys helped them cross a small creek. Shortly afterwards, the boys noticed a man emerging nearby bushland and walking in the same direction as the sisters, an observation that would later attract police attention. When Gracie and Kathleen failed to return home by early evening, the family grew alarmed, and police were contacted. A large search the following morning revealed signs of a violent struggle: disturbed sand, bloodstains, broken bottles, and personal items, including a button torn from Kathleen's dress. Soon after, both girls were found face down in a shallow swamp water near the shore, each having suffered severe head injuries. The scene was shocking, chaotic, and at times anomalous compared to what investigators expected in a small, quiet town. Police quickly focused on a local man, William Birtle, who had been seen near the area and later participated in the search. Footprints at the scene appeared to match a deformity in his suit, and scratches on his head, combined with discrepancies in the statement, raised suspicions. While a fellow inmate later claimed Birtle confessed, this testimony was not considered reliable. Crucially, investigators were unable to corroborate many of the claims with physical evidence. Hair found in Kathleen's hand did not conclusively link him to the crime, and forensic capabilities in the 1950s were limited. The prosecutor's case was largely speculative. There was no direct proof, and many investigators' findings were circumstantial. As a result, Birtle was acquitted and charges inconclusive, and no other suspects was even successfully prosecuted. More than 70 years later, the murder of Gracie and Kathleen Holmes will remain officially unsolved. A tragic story of suspicion, fragmented evidence, and unanswered questions that continue to haunt the community.
The murders of Grace and Kathleen Holmes remain one of Australia's most haunting unsolved cases, largely because the investigators were never able to move beyond suspicion to proof. Over 70 years later, the questions still linger. What exactly happened between the moment the sisters left home and the moment they were killed? Were they attacked suddenly, or did they know the assailant? Was there one offender or more? From start, police suspicion focused on a local man named William Birtle. Footprints near the scene appeared similar to his, and his statements about the day were inconsistent. and contradictory. While in custody, a fellow inmate later claimed Bertel confessed to the murders, yet every piece of evidence against him was circumstantial. Hair found in Kathleen's hand did not conclusively match him. Footprints comparisons were subjective, and the forensic science in 1950 was extremely limited. DNA testing was non-existent. Fingerprint recovery outdoor was unreliable, and the overall investigative methods were rudimentary by today's standards. Because of these limitations, Bertel was acquitted, and no other suspect was ever prosecuted. Over the years, several theories have emerged. The most widely accepted is that Bertel committed the murders but escaped conviction due to insufficient evidence. His proximity to the crime scene, contradictory statements, and the footprints evidence of all point towards him, but none of it could prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Another theory suggests the girls were attacked by unknown strangers, perhaps a drifter passing through the bushland near the lake. At the time, rumors circulated about a sex maniac who had escaped from a nearby mental institution. When these claims were later discredited, they added confusion and fear, contributing to speculation that continues to this day. Ultimately, the case remains unsolved due to a combination of factors: the lack of direct evidence, the contrasts of a mid-20th century forensic science, and the failure to identify alternative suspects of the Bertel's acquittal. Critical questions remain. Did someone else commit the crime? Could modern forensic methods have solved it if evidence had been preserved? And perhaps the most unsettling, will the truth ever be known? The story of Grace and Kathleen Holmes is a stark reminder that suspicion and circumstantial evidence are not the same as proof, and that some mysteries, even when they dominate headlines and public imagination, may never fully be resolved. Media coverage plays a powerful role in shaping how cases like the murders of Grace and Kathleen Holmes are remembered. On one hand, reporting can keep a case in the public eye, encouraging witnesses to come forward and hold authorities accountable. On the other hand, it can distort facts, create a narrative of guilt, and influence public opinion long before court has spoken. In cases built largely on circumstantial evidence, repeated exposure to a single storyline can harden assumptions, making it difficult for alternative theories to be considered. Trial by media can stigmatize suspects, even those acquitted, while ongoing coverage can reopen wounds for victims, families, reduce real lives to symbol or sensational stories. True crime storytelling sits at the uncomfortable intersection of journalism and entertainment. Ethical reporting requires resisting the urge to simplify, sensationalize, or present uncertainty as certainty. How we consume these stories matters. Our curiosity should not come at the cost of justice, accuracy, or empathy.
In the end, cases like the murders of Grace and Kathleen Holmes remind us that unresolved crimes are not just mysteries from the past. They are human tragedies that still echo today. Behind every headline are real lives lost, families left without answers, and communities living with uncertainty. As listeners, we carry a responsibility to question simple narratives, to approach true crime stories thoughtfully, and to remember that certainty is rare when evidence is complete. Listen critically, stay empathetic, and let the search for truth guide your curiosity, not assumptions.